Match day once again. Liverpool travel to Aston Villa this evening in the Premier League, knowing 3 points will secure Champions League football next year and probably ultimately keep Arne Slot in the job, which look is the downside, but I'd much rather Liverpool be in the Champions League than not. So at least if we can go there this evening, get the win, get some sort of positivity back, get that secured, and then we can go from there. At least that's one less worry for us to think about. Welcome along to Anfield Agenda. My name is Conor, and I'm here to go through all of the latest Liverpool news, as we have a bit around Richard Hughes potentially leaving Liverpool. We have some links with Yan Diomande, Bradley Barcola and Antonio Nusa, who's a new player who's been linked to us today. We have some stuff around Arne Slot's press conference. We have a quote from Joe Cole as to why he's shocked about the hostility shown towards Arne Slot, which I disagree with Joe Cole on this, but we will discuss this later in the video. We also have an interesting stat around Virgil van Dijk. Before we get into it, please do hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and let's jump straight into it. So let's start with some of the Arne Slot stuff, because again, we don't talk about this enough on the channel. It's about time we sat down and had a chat about Arne Slot. We need to talk about Arne Slot. So this from James Pearce via the Walk On podcast said, Liverpool remain committed in Arne Slot and believe that adding pace and midfield physicality will solve current issues. FSG views the current slump as a consequence of external factors rather than a decline in Slot's competence. So I agree to some extent, like adding pace and adding some physicality to midfield. Yes, it will solve some issues. But do we really trust Arne Slot to get the best out of these players? Do we trust that he can rebuild this? Do we trust that he can win back the fan base? Which is a big thing. Like, when the fans turn on you, like, you have to do something monumental to really gain back their trust. And in my lifetime, like, I don't remember ever seeing, like, hostility towards a manager like this. Like, fans aren't happy. The style of play is shite. We're not getting results. And ultimately, it's just not good enough. So I agree to some extent that some of them factors, of course, will be part of it. But does anyone really believe he is the man to do it? Because I certainly don't. And let's move on to that Joe Cole quote, actually. So Joe Cole expressed shock at the growing hostility from Liverpool fans towards Arne Slot and argued that Slot's critics are ignoring last season's league title and the significant crisis involving Jota, Isak and Ekitike. So he said, I've never been to Anfield and it felt so restless with a manager. When we go to a game, we're doing our homework, we're speaking to people, they're like, they're not happy, they're not happy. I'm like, it blows my mind. He won the league last year. All of the incidents that have happened, Jota, Isak being injured, Ekitike being injured, Wirtz, nobody saw Wirtz not settling. I'm like, this is so un-Liverpool, where they're restless, right? Now, sorry, by the way, I'm struggling with my voice today, so I will have to gulp and stop at times. Joe Cole speaking about this, like, I think just mind your own business, really. Like, Liverpool fans can have their opinion. Liverpool fans are allowed to be upset with this. Like, it's just not been good enough. Yes, he won the league last year. Yes, there's been some factors, but like, can we stop using excuses? Like, especially the Jota thing. Like, just leave the man rest in peace. Stop bringing up his name every time we lose a game, or just like using him as an excuse for what's going on, because it's just not. Like, it's not the whole cause of it. Yes, it's not exactly ideal, is it? Like, obviously, it's a terrible, terrible thing that's happened. But just let the man rest in peace. Stop bringing him back up to try score points in arguments and just try paper over cracks, because it just makes no sense to me. It's not the cause, is it? Like, let's be honest. Like, if we'd struggled at the start of the season and we were starting to come back around now, you would say, yes, fair enough. Slow start to the season, given what happened in the summer. But at this point, just stop bringing it up. Honestly, just stop. Just let the man rest. Moving on then to Lewis Steele, who was speaking to Anfield Index about Slot's embargo press conference last week. He said, there's something that he wants to say that he feels that he would get completely hounded for if he says it. I think reading between the lines, and it's only a guess, it's to do with Salah. I do think that it goes back to the Salah relationship that's clearly broken down. Now, I would be absolutely fascinated to see does Mo come out with stuff over the summer just to kind of give us an insight as to what happened there. Like, I'm sure once he's out of the club, he will be a bit more open to speaking about these things. He'll have a bit more free reign to discuss like what actually went on, because there's clearly been a big falling out there. And like, for Mo to go and speak to the media like he did back in, what was it, like February or January, it takes a lot to send Mo out there doing that, like after being benched for a couple of games. So it will be fascinating to hear, is there more to this story? Lewis Steele obviously thinks there is, and Arne Slot wants to say something, but he doesn't have Liverpool fans on his side. He can't come out and declare war on Mo Salah when he knows every single fan will back Mo Salah. So interesting to see what happens with that one, but yeah, there's definitely something a bit strange going on there. Moving on then to Mark Douglas of the iPaper. He said, sources say that Richard Hughes is set to join his former colleague Simon Francis at Al Hilal at the end of the summer transfer window. Now, we've heard differently to that. We think Richard Hughes is going to stay at least for another year, probably longer than that. I think like the reports around him leaving next summer aren't probably as ironclad as people might think they are. But Mark Douglas here obviously thinks he's leaving. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. But to our understanding, I don't think he's going to go, and particularly not this year. Also from Mark Douglas then said, Liverpool are prepared to commit up to £75 million to sign Yan Diomande, with Bradley Barcola another possible target. Antonio Nusa, who primarily plays on the left, is another on Liverpool's radar. And I want to bring up something that Lewis Steele spoke about actually before I go back to this. So Lewis Steele, speaking about wingers and all as well, he was speaking with Anfield Index, said, the word I have on Diomande is that Liverpool are just a bit unsure whether to trigger an £85 million-ish fee for a player who in the grand scheme of things is relatively unproven. His numbers aren't that good, they're not like jump off the screen good. And when you go back to look at the other players we've been linked with, like even like Barcola and Antonio Nusa, like I'll just quickly look before coming on here. Nusa has 4 goals in the league this year. I think that Diomande has 12 and Barcola has 10. Like it's, if you're like genuinely looking to replace Mo Salah's output, are any of them really good enough? Like I know like you could probably unlock more from these players, and if you put them into a team that's fit and firing, then you will get more out of them ultimately. But again, like £75 million for Yan Diomande, 85 million possibly, like it's a lot of money to commit for a player who hasn't really proven it yet. Like I know that it kind of is the going rate nowadays. It seems like if you're anyway half decent and young, you go for £100 million, but it is just crazy, isn't it, to think like, and there must be some sort of plan between like Ekitike and Isak and Wirtz. Like that should replace Salah's output, hopefully, along with a few wingers, rather than having to bring in a player who scores 30 or 40 goals a season. But you would like to see a little bit more output for players if you are going to spend 80 or 90 million pounds on them. So do let me know what to think of that. Like, who would be your preferred target? I think if I was to look at it without like money or anything that way, I'd probably go for Bradley Barcola. Like if I'm looking at realistic options, I think like he scores a decent amount of goals. He seems to be wasteful as well, to be fair. So like if we could unlock that wastefulness out of him, like if we could get that last 10% out of him, I'm sure he could be an absolute superstar. A little bit more experience than Yan Diomande as well, of course, and I just think there's a lot to like about him. I'll put it that way. I think like he's an exciting player. He'll get fans off their feet. He will rip defenses apart, and I think ultimately he'll be my choice. But look, I take any of them, to be honest. I'll trust the judgment of the club, which is a strange thing to say at this time, but I will trust their judgment on transfer targets because they tend to get more right than wrong over the last couple of years. So I will just trust whoever they decide to bring in. Van Dijk then, an interesting stat around him. Virgil van Dijk needs just 29 more minutes of football this season to break Jamie Carragher's record for the most minutes played by an outfield Liverpool player in a single year. Carragher set the current mark of 4,789 minutes in 2007-08, while Van Dijk sits at 4,761. So if he starts tonight and plays the first half, he will break that record, which is, it's incredible really when you think of like how, like he's not like ancient, but like he's getting on in years and he's still out there breaking them records. He's still consistently performing, still consistently not getting injured. Fingers crossed now he doesn't get injured tonight after I say that, but it's just a testament to like his work rate, his work ethic, everything. It's just fantastic from him. Fair play to him. He will break the record this evening if he starts, so good to see that one. On this evening, I suppose I'll give my quick preview for the match this evening. I think it probably depends what team Villa put out, to be honest. Like I don't know if they're going to really focus on the league now when they have the Europa League final coming up. But then they're not exactly like secure for Champions League football either. Like the likes of Brentford and all, they're probably not going to catch Liverpool. Like if we look at the table here, Liverpool and Villa are both on 59 points, and then Bournemouth are behind. So yeah, Brentford are out at this point. Bournemouth are sitting in 6th on 55, which is 4 points behind. So technically can catch us, but probably not. Like realistically, Liverpool and Villa are probably secure in the Champions League spots at this point. So maybe Villa can afford to rotate a little bit and just keep their players fresh for that Europa League final. But I think they'll be raring for it. Like it's their last home game before they go off to do the Europa League final, last home game of the season for them. And for us, just get a win, just have that done, have Champions League boxed off, and then we can try to enjoy the game against Brentford and send the likes of Salah and I was going to say Van Dijk there. Send the likes of Salah, Robertson, possibly Alisson off on their way. Hopefully Slot as well. Hopefully he's going as well. But at least if we can score Champions League football tonight, we can just try to enjoy the last game of the season, really. I'm going to go with a 2-2 draw. I don't think we'll win. I think we'll score a few. I think we'll concede a few. So I'll go 2-2. But do let me know in the comments below your score predictions. And do you reckon that Villa will go strong? Or will they start to rotate a little bit? Because I don't really know where I'm at with that one. Thank you very much for watching anyway. That's all from me. Craig will be back with a video in the afternoon, live again this evening. I was going to say from 8:45, but it's match tonight, so feels weird playing on a Friday, doesn't it? So we'll be starting at 6:45 for the watch-alongs. Keep an eye out for that one. Match reaction, player ratings, all the normal stuff afterwards as well. So please do keep an eye out for those. Thank you very much for watching. I'm going to go rest my voice, and I will see you very soon.